It's Monday, November 20th, and this is The National. Tonight, Keystone XL is closer to moving Alberta oil to market, but is the controversial pipeline even necessary?
We are on the ground in Puerto Rico. 2 months after Hurricane Maria, why are so many people still without electricity?
But we begin with new allegations of sexual misconduct, this time against a well-respected American journalist. The Harvey Weinstein case is just 6 weeks old, but its cultural impact is already undeniable, uncorking an almost daily pattern. Women alleging sexual wrongdoing by a high-profile man, a swift response from employers, a version of an apology, and what's now clear, you just cannot be surprised anymore when you hear who that man is.
You know something about her? She probably came up in your...
Tonight, it is longtime broadcaster Charlie Rose, interviewer of the political and cultural elite, morning show TV host, sometimes 60 Minutes correspondent. Today's report comes from the Washington Post. 8 women say they were victimized by Rose between the late 1990s and 2011. From having their breasts groped to his unwanted advances to him walking around naked in front of them. The reporters working on the story said the allegations first emerged in 2010, but no one would speak on the record then.
There is certainly a moment that's happening in this country right now. I think that perhaps one could say that it started in the wake of the allegations made against Harvey Weinstein, when certain women were willing to go forward and put their name on the record.
From Rose's employers, immediate action. PBS has suspended the distribution of The Charlie Rose Show. CBS has suspended him pending a review. And from Rose himself, a statement. I deeply apologize for my inappropriate behavior. I'm greatly embarrassed. I have behaved insensitively at times, and I accept responsibility for that, though I do not believe that all of these allegations are accurate. Rose describes himself as an advocate for women and has a public persona as a defender of progressive values. We touched on that subject in the summer of 2016 at the Republican National Convention, where we talked about the sexist anti-Hillary Clinton shirts and buttons on display.
Is there something about the misogyny of some of the paraphernalia out there that strikes any of you as being unusual, problematic, consequential?
Look, I mean, clearly, we all are sensitive to misogyny, and that kind of assault on women, and if you see that, it's something that is offensive to us. On the other hand, you see that kind of thing has been, it's not just unique to this convention.
Rose's longtime executive producer reportedly now says she regrets not helping the women. Now, Charlie Rose wasn't the only journalist accused of sexual misconduct today. Another high-profile reporter was suspended. The New York Times says White House reporter Glenn Thrush is off the job while they investigate claims made by 4 female journalists. The women told the news site Vox that he made unwanted advances towards them while he was working at Politico and at the Times. Thrush said in a statement that he apologized to any woman who felt uncomfortable around him. Meanwhile, a second woman has come forward accusing U.S. Senator Al Franken of inappropriate touching. The woman told CNN that he grabbed her rear end in 2010 while the two were posing for a photo at a state fair. The allegation comes just a couple days after Franken apologized to a TV anchor who accused him of kissing and groping her without her consent.
I feel like a weight's been lifted, and I've had a lot of people that have come out and have said that because of my courage that they're able to do the same.
And that is Lee Korfman speaking today about her decision to go public with allegations against U.S. Senate candidate Roy Moore. Korfman says Moore molested her when she was just 14 years old. He was in his 30s at the time. Moore has denied that and allegations made by several other women. He is also refusing to quit the Senate race. So it seems every day another case, Rosie, and we are clearly a long way away from making sense of this as a whole.
And it's not over anytime soon. No. All right, now on to a major decision that could result in a potential economic boon for Alberta and really all of Canada. TransCanada's Keystone XL pipeline cleared what's considered to be the final regulatory hurdle in Nebraska. The state voted to approve a route that would bring Alberta oil sands crude to U.S. refineries. Its decision being cheered by Alberta's premier.
Well, I think it's good news, absolutely. It's good news that we're able to move forward on some energy infrastructure. And of course, we know it will reduce costs for the energy industry and ultimately ensure greater resources going back to Canadians as a result. But and so it's good news. It's very good news.
But that yes vote doesn't mean it's a done deal. It could still take years before construction on Keystone XL gets underway, if it ever does. Landowners, environmental groups, and Indigenous leaders have all launched several lawsuits to block Keystone's construction.
We'll continue to fight the Keystone route and what it means for our water, for our land, for our future generations, our resources, and all those natives and non-natives that are impacted by this, and all of our people. We're not happy about this. You heard it today.
Adding another wrinkle to this already long and complicated project, the route that's been approved today isn't even the one TransCanada had hoped for. It's actually a longer alternative one that shifts the pipeline away from sensitive ecological areas, but that could prove more difficult and costly to build. And so TransCanada saying very little today, but in a statement did say this: it will conduct a careful review of the ruling while assessing how the decision would impact the cost and schedule of the project. The Keystone XL pipeline was initially proposed now almost 10 years ago. Much has changed, but the global demand for oil has stayed the same. And given how long it has taken to get this far, does Canada still need Keystone? Consider this. With a worldwide oversupply, the price of oil has dropped by almost $100 a barrel since the pipeline was first proposed by TransCanada. Domestic production of oil inside the United States has doubled, largely because of increased shale drilling.
And frankly, approving this project would have undercut that global leadership. And that's the biggest risk we face. Not acting.
After Keystone was shut down by former President Barack Obama in 2015 because he said of his commitment to climate change, Canada turned its attention elsewhere.
And so the failure to make progress on our own pipeline to Tidewater is in effect our inability to get it together to make our best marketing decisions. And we can do better. We are a country that can do better, and it needs to be everybody's priority.
As it is, Canadian crude is sold at deep discount in the U.S. because it's difficult to refine. So with the fate of Keystone unknown, the need to find new markets is more urgent.
We continue to be very enthusiastic about opening up the Asia route, and we are very committed to this pipeline. We believe it's good for Canada, it's good for Alberta, it's good for the West.
So the pipeline may not be needed, but it is still wanted. Keystone XL, though, isn't the only pipeline the government wants to use to send more Alberta oil to global markets. The Trudeau government has given the green light to two major projects. Let me show you them. One pipeline has already been approved that will get oil to the Asian market. The Kinder Morgan's Trans Mountain project to expand the line will carry crude from Edmonton to Burnaby, BC, where it will be exported to Asia. Enbridge's Line 3 would funnel oil through northern Minnesota to Wisconsin to the U.S. market. Not every project has the stamp of approval. Aboriginal and environmental opposition essentially killed Northern Gateway, which would have run from Alberta to BC's north coast for shipment to Asia. And last month, TransCanada shelved its Energy East project to the east coast because of delays from the regulatory process.
Well, today in Washington, Donald Trump made a big show of putting new pressure on North Korea to end its nuclear program by naming the country as a state sponsor of terrorism.
Should have happened a long time ago. Should have happened years ago.
Question is, how much pressure will these new measures really pile on? Well, we asked Paul Hunter to compare Trump's bark to his bite.
To the question how to stop North Korea's nuclear program for Donald Trump, the thinking is there's no viable military answer, not without risking countless lives. So today, more tough-sounding words.
Today, the United States is designating North Korea as a state sponsor of terrorism. It must end its unlawful nuclear and ballistic missile development and cease all support for international terrorism, which it is not doing.
It means a few more sanctions and a bit more pressure on North Korea, but given all the sanctions already, even Trump's Secretary of State emphasizes today's step is mostly symbolism.
The practical effects may be limited, but hopefully we're closing off a few loopholes with this.
North Korea's been on this list before, from 1988 to 2008, when George W. Bush lifted the designation amid talks to, yes, end North Korea's nuclear program.
The goal is the complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula.
That obviously failed.
On the other hand, says Tillerson, as sanctions have lately hardened, those rocket tests have lately slowed.
I think it is having an effect. Is this the reason we haven't had a provocative act in 60 days? I don't want to suggest to you that I could say, but we're hopeful this period will continue.
Then again, Trump's tough talk today after weeks of trading insults with Kim Jong-un may irritate North Korea, or it may not. As ever, a key challenge in all of this is North Korea's full-on secrecy. So, for now, pressure on the country grows, if only slightly. And to Tillerson, the question, does he believe the U.S. is running out of diplomatic options?
No, I do not.
More sanctions are expected tomorrow. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
And still in Washington, a humanitarian program that protected thousands of Haitians from deportation is coming to an end. The White House made that announcement late this evening. The point of the program, when it was put in place after the 2010 earthquake, was to protect the nearly 60,000 Haitians in the U.S. from being sent back. It was set to expire in January, but could have been extended, and fears that it wouldn't be led to a surge of Haitians walking into Canada this year to seek asylum. White House officials say the program will officially end in July 2019. And Rosie, we should mention that there are lots of people in Haiti saying tonight that that country is in no position, no shape to welcome back 60,000 people. There was the earthquake, of course. There's also billions of dollars in damage from Hurricane Matthew, as well as that cholera outbreak.
Yeah, and the federal government here is certainly preparing for a potential onslaught of people, much as they did at the border we saw over the past number of months. They're sending a Liberal MP, Emmanuel Dubourg, down to New York tomorrow to start to talk to Haitians about why it's not a good idea to come here, because they could be rejected as well. Meanwhile, German Chancellor Angela Merkel is dealing with fallout from her handling of the refugee crisis in Europe. Negotiations to form a new government have collapsed, leaving Europe's largest and most important economy now in limbo. Merkel has spent weeks trying to stitch together a coalition government between four parties to combat the rising popularity of the far-right AfD party. Nala Ayed has more.
You'll remember that sigh of relief we heard in many corners when Merkel won that fourth term. But what we're hearing today is the anti-sigh, and all the hand-wringing starting all over again, because Germany now seems on the cusp of the end of an era. And Merkel even hinted as much today by calling it a historic day. For 12 years, Merkel ruled with coalitions and has been there through 3 Canadian prime ministers, 4 British ones, and 3 U.S. presidents. Her secret? In the words of a former campaign manager, is that she headed up a big tent party. That's a little bit like an IKEA store, he says, because it has something for everybody. But the Merkel stability streak has been interrupted, and the whole world is feeling it.
What do you think about the situation in Germany?
European leaders who are eager to get on with their business don't like what they see. There's a lot on their plates. There's reforming the EU. That's French President Emmanuel Macron's biggest concern. And Brexit, which is everybody's concern, both in the EU and well beyond. Plus, don't forget, through the unpredictability of the Trump era, Merkel has been seen as an anchor for the liberal world order. Moving forward, Merkel was pretty clear about her preference today, saying she'd much rather go through elections again than try to form a minority government. But calling an election is up to the president. And today he encouraged compromise. So Merkel could try for another round of talks with the same parties, or she could try to persuade her usual partners, the Social Democratic Party, to form a coalition. If all fails, the vote probably goes ahead. That would probably give the far-right AfD party more oxygen and possibly more votes. And the issues that prevented a coalition this time could come up again. Just about every option available to Merkel will siphon away some of her power. It is an end of an era, no doubt. But it's not clear yet that this is how Europe's longest-serving leader will go out altogether. Nala Ayed, CBC News, London.
Now, many say the political turning point for Angela Merkel came in the fall of 2015. Smiles and applause there, but many Germans didn't actually feel that way then, and they certainly don't now. Angela Merkel opened Germany's borders to migrants fleeing the war in Syria, among others. More than 1 million people came, and the backlash was immediate. Merkel quickly lost ground in the polls, and the right-wing Alternative for Germany party experienced a sharp upswing. Far-right parties continue to grow in influence and prominence across Europe. In Austria, the far-right Freedom Party won nearly a third of the national vote in September. It is now in talks to form a coalition government. The Party for Freedom leads the opposition in Dutch parliament. Hungary's ruling right-wing party is likely to win a third straight term on a fierce anti-immigrant message. In Italy, the Northern League has the support of about 15% of Italians heading into an election year. And the neo-Nazi organization Golden Dawn is now the third most popular party in Greece.
Well, still ahead tonight on The National, children at Toronto's Sick Kids Hospital helped inspire Wonder, one of North America's top movies right now. They got to see the movie today, and we were there.
And we'll take you underground into the sewers of London, England, how grease, garbage, and frankly, some other very gross stuff are harvested for fuel.
And 2 months ago tonight, Hurricane Maria slammed Puerto Rico. Why are so many American citizens still so desperate for help? The National documentary is next.
How many times has the house flooded since the hurricane?
3 times.
Your house was flooded 3 times?
Yeah. They don't do nothing.
Robert Mugabe, having now made the transition to fully fledged dictator, sought comfort today amongst his fellow African rulers. It was a shrewd calculation. More than a few of his African peers share his notions of democracy.
L'Afrique.
African Union Commission Chairman Jean Ping read a bland statement calling on Zimbabweans to work together in the interest of their country. Only Kenya's prime minister referred to Mugabe's murderous methods of retaining power. Raila Odinga favors outside intervention.
My view is that the African Union should not accept or entertain Mr. Mugabe. He should be suspended until he agrees to allow the African Union to facilitate free and fair elections between him and his opponent.
Mugabe forced Zimbabweans at gunpoint last week to install him as president for a 6th term. Yesterday, he was offering to negotiate with the opposition he's been brutalizing. The opposition leader, though, has taken refuge inside the Dutch embassy, fearing for his life.
The inauguration is a meaningless exercise. The world has said so, Zimbabweans have said so. So it's an exercise in self-delusion.
Britain's prime minister agreed.
The message that is coming from the whole of the world is that the so-called election will not be recognized as legitimate.
In Washington, the administration called the election a sham and threatened sanctions.
We will press for strong action by the United Nations, but we could also act unilaterally.
And this afternoon, the UN Security Council was considering a U.S.-sponsored draft resolution rejecting the rigged election and imposing an arms embargo on Mugabe.
We don't sleep well, we get worried every day, and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
When Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico with deadly accuracy 2 months ago tonight, it destroyed brittle infrastructure and just dumped grief on an already bankrupt island. What has and has not happened since then explains why people are still reeling. Start with the electricity up and running across just half of the island. Many of those who can are leaving. More than 150,000 to Florida so far. That's a number that's expected to double. And here's a problem for those left behind. They need $94 billion in aid, but the U.S. Congress has approved just 5. From a distance, those numbers sketch a dark story. So Ioanna Remiliotis went there and talked with Puerto Ricans who are looking for light.
Oh my God, look at the street.
We arrive to a blackened capital, to a sound that slices through the dark, through the drone of generators. It's the croaking of the coqui, tiny frogs native to Puerto Rico. Their symphony accompanies the weariness. We find Naya Reese and her family on the side of a busy road. The headlights of passing cars are like beacons. They've been without power for weeks.
So who lives here with you? My mom, my dad, my brother, my two cousins, my grandma, and my uncle. It's been hard. Yeah, without any electricity, the mosquitoes, the heat. I know that there are places have been more affected by the Hurricane Maria, but we're also part of Puerto Rico and we need help.
Bags of ice keep their food cool. Like most people here, they can't afford a generator or the fuel to run it. They just keep looking for light wherever they can find it. 2 months after Hurricane Maria tore through the island, Puerto Rico is still clawing its way out of the dark.
It's hard to believe this is 2 months later. Doesn't look like much has been done here.
Outside of San Juan, it gets worse.
Look at this. It's all falling apart. Just like hanging.
We head to the mountains. There's a quiet to the landscape, the kind that sets in after too much waiting. Entire towns here have no power. Homes are leveled. It's hard to see the ruins below until you do.
Yeah, careful with the needles.
We meet Edwin Colon near the town of Albonito. He shows us what's left of his house with the eagerness of someone who feels forgotten.
The
kitchen, and this was their bathroom.
La cama no hacía mucho que se había comprado. El gavetero y eso no hacía mucho, como un mes o dos que se había comprado esto. Es duro.
He is anxious all the time now, he says. Feels abandoned.
Apenado y olvidado.
Lives do seem stalled, brutally interrupted. Look inside, at the clothes still hanging. The hurricane destroyed nearly 500,000 homes and decimated a power grid already weakened by years of neglect. Critical infrastructure, too, is crippled.
Yep. Stuck in that. You see the bridge over there? Do you think it's safe for me to...
Yeah, just...
If there is a way out, no one can point to it.
We're on our way to Barranquita, which is one of the most hard-hit areas in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. And as you can see, we had to stop and get out of our vehicle because the main bridge that takes us through the town has collapsed.
It's a main artery, and we learn crews only started repairs that day, 6 weeks after Hurricane Maria. They can't keep up.
I thought it was a collapsed bridge,
We take a detour.
Oh, okay. Over there.
We'll just follow them and see where they're going.
So it looks like this is where the bridge was.
Find another collapsed bridge and another story.
When es ya night, cuando cae la noche, más difícil. Esto es bien oscuro, no se ve nada, porque es peligroso.
Jacqueline Sierra has no electricity and no running water. She uses bottled water to do laundry. The slow trickle of aid hasn't reached her, and it's been 2 months.
Pues el ser humano se adapta, ¿verdad? A diferentes formas de vivir, pero no es fácil, no es fácil.
Do you feel like they forgot you, or?
Yeah. Sí.
Where is FEMA? Where is FEMA?
Buena pregunta.
Good question.
I don't know.
In fact, FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, is here and leading the recovery effort. As an American territory, Puerto Rico is entitled to its help. But delivering that help is complicated. Roads are washed out. Cell service is spotty. So trucks blare the message and tell people where to go find that help. It took FEMA a month to set up this aid center just outside the town of Barranquitas. Only now are people registering for the basics. Most are just asking for a tarp to serve as a temporary roof. Elsa Avides says, without one, life is all about bracing for the next rainfall.
Me da un estrés cada vez que va a caer un aguacero, pensando pues que se me va a volver a mojar la casa. Y tengo que estar poniendo toallas, que si confort, que para recoger gavetas plásticas en los closets para que no se me moje la ropa por la filtración de la lluvia. Bastante. Bastante. No es lo mismo como uno estaba, como uno está.
FEMA plans to airlift people who have no homes left to repair, to join the tens of thousands of Puerto Ricans who've already fled to mainland USA. But so many are stuck here, their lives suspended in shelters like this one. In the hour we spend here, Annabel Colon barely moves.
Si la casa mía no está habitable por el techo y por el piso, porque el piso se desniveló, pues entonces prestarnos una casa donde nosotros podamos estar unos meses hasta que arreglen la casa donde uno vive.
What's the worst part of waiting?
Y quedarme sin nada.
The desperation isn't raw anymore. It's resigned, exhausted. Luisito Hernandez doesn't even sit up to talk.
I wake up, I go nervous. You know what I mean? I get nervous because I say, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? That's not easy for me, not easy for these people.
Watch the wires.
When we get further into town,
Hola.
we find most of the water has drained away too.
All the brown is water.
Yes.
A man shows us how bad it was.
That's his house right there. All the brown is water.
One of the town's schools only opened the day we came here. Angelica Caens holds on to that.
Es difícil, muchos de la comunidad perdieron el trabajo por la electricidad, porque no hay los servicios esenciales. Entonces sí, hay días que se levanta uno y es desesperante, pero tenemos que seguir, no nos cuesta o de otra, no hay alternativa.
We head back on a road littered with broken lives. And then, as we near San Juan, this.
Oh my God, look at that car. It's not gonna make it.
A severe thunderstorm.
Go, 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 go.
Speed will get, otherwise the engine stops.
In less than 10 minutes, the highways are flooded. Our cameraman struggles to get us through it.
This is the road.
The downpour ends as suddenly as it started. The city's water pumps still don't work properly. We stop on higher ground
It was complete.
and find Maria Cecilia Uribe and her husband Julio.
If you want to go inside, here,
All the way to...
look, everything is with water. We just have been taking out all the water, but if you see, there is still water.
How many times has the house flooded since the hurricane?
3 times.
Your house is flooded 3 times?
Yeah. They don't do nothing.
What do you think of the recovery so far in terms of what the government's been able to do?
I don't think they have been doing. I think they have been doing a lot of things, but they have missing a lot of things. We are fortunate because we have.
You have a generator.
Yes. And we put on in the night and we put off in the morning.
We are tired. We don't sleep well. We get worried every day, and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. 45 days without electricity is just unthinkable. With not even a third world, and we were not. Now we are.
Looking for light, there seems to be no end to the wait. Joanna Rumiliotis, CBC News, Puerto Rico.
Now, you saw some of the people in Joanna's story barely able to move, evidence perhaps of another of Maria's lingering effects. Puerto Rico has a mental health crisis now, more than 2,000 calls to a hotline. That's double the usual, but consider most people are completely without phone service. And then there are the suicides, a reported 32 at least, also well above normal. So Joanna will continue our special coverage from Puerto Rico later this week. At this hospital, the children are doubly vulnerable. They are orphans with critical medical conditions. Then Maria knocked out the power.
It was a very hard time for us.
Enter electric car maker Tesla and a parking lot filled with solar panels.
It was a very special time for every one of us.
Restoring reliable power, that's Wednesday on The National.
Still ahead, the red carpet has been rolled out for Canada's best authors tonight. And we have the first interview with the brand new Giller Prize winner, Michael Redhill. But first, to another carpet at Toronto's Sick Kids Hospital. Eli Glasner takes us to a special screening of Wonder, the story of a boy with a facial difference. Actor Jacob Tremblay met with kids dealing with similar issues before filming, and today brought the movie back to them.
You live with this every day. You're being told you're disgusting. You're being told to go kill yourself, and you start thinking, you know, why? I probably should, because this is just the worst.
And you didn't feel like it was worth going on?
No, I mean, like, words hurt, but when you're being also punched, hit, attacked, you know, like, people would corner me and just, like, kick me down in the face.
For all the excitement and excellence we can expect at next month's Olympics in Calgary, there will be a sinister undercurrent. At any moment, winning athletes could have their medals taken away if they fail post-competition drug tests.
Those tests are precise, they're sophisticated, but officials have a hard time keeping up with the pharmaceutical repertoire of substances some athletes use to enhance performance. The Journal's Catherine Olson has been looking into this problem, and she finds that when milliseconds mean the difference between Olympic success and failure, there's great temptation to use artificial means to be higher, faster, stronger.
The World Cup Speed Skating Championships in Calgary last month, one of the last big warm-up events before the Winter Olympics. For the athletes, it's a chance to check out Calgary's new speed skating oval. 6 world records are broken.
You've done this before? Yeah, just once.
It's also a chance for the Olympic drug testing officials to make sure they've got all the bugs worked out of their system, and that none of the world records is the result of drugs.
Okay, now we go to the doping station.
A Korean skater wins a bronze medal, but he also wins a trip to the Olympic doping center. So do 36 other skaters. It may not be the glamorous finish you'd imagined.
Okay, just have a seat over here, please.
But this is the way many races actually end.
Okay, well, the routine in here is basically, when you're ready, You'll be able to produce a sample for us, okay?
During the Olympics, any athlete that places in the top 4 will also have to make a trip to the doping center. Their urine samples will be analyzed to see if they contain any one of several hundred substances that are banned. It's all part of a high-tech and very expensive system to keep the Olympic image clean and the Games drug-free. But despite the all-out effort, it's a battle that may already be lost. Drugs have been a controversial part of the Olympic Games since the last time Canada played host in 1976. 14 athletes were caught using steroids and amphetamines. It was an embarrassing scandal, but it was only the beginning. 1983, the Pan Am Games in Caracas, Venezuela. 19 athletes are disqualified for using drugs. They include 2 Canadian weightlifters. Suddenly, there's an exodus of athletes who leave before they're finished competing. They say they're injured, but the impression is they're leaving to avoid the tests. Los Angeles, the 1984 Olympics. 11 athletes failed the drug test. On the surface, it looked like the drug problem was gradually being licked. But Canadian discus thrower Rob Gray claimed drug use was becoming even more widespread. Athletes were simply becoming better at beating the system.
To my experience, most of the top people in the world, I'm talking about top people, I'm not talking about my position in the world. It's not that hard to reach my position in the world without using steroids. Without drugs, you're not going to be able to succeed.
The black market in illegal drugs was in fact flourishing. And in North America, one of its ringleaders was a former Olympic silver medalist. In 1972, David Jenkins was a member of the British relay team. 2 years ago, he was arrested in California. He since pleaded guilty to charges related to his running a $100 million black market in steroids.
Oh, I think it's straightforward.
Can't flush this. Look in my eyes, man.
Can't flush this. That's MC Plummer and his helpers in a British campaign with a universal warning. When you flush the wrong things down the toilet, they can come back to haunt you by flooding your basement or raising your taxes. Clearly, I drew the short straw tonight. It costs a fortune to clean up some of the worst offenders: grease, oil, and cooking fats. They form into a big blobs of destruction called fatbergs. When the City of London tackled a multi-ton whopper, well, the CBC's Thomas Degla, he really got the short straw, went beyond the call of duty to show how they fought the fatberg and then turned it into something useful.
They're geared up for battle and waging war under the streets of London, taking on a monster that feeds on grease and garbage, a giant called fatberg. It's a curious sight from street level, but there's much more to see down below, and for that, we've got to suit up.
Here we go.
London's 150-year-old sewers weren't built for comfort. It's a tight squeeze at first, but a cinch for Field Operations Manager Natalie Stern.
Where London has developed and evolved, they've now put roads over the top of our sewers, so it's more difficult to gain access to our sewers.
And it's hard to stand the work environment, too. There's the risk of dangerous gases, not to mention all that slop and the visitors on the wall.
So the stench isn't as bad as you might imagine. The trick is not to fall in, because all that stuff is about as deep as my chest. Yuck.
The real monster's down that dark tunnel, the fatberg. This one, 26 tons of solidified fat, grease, wet wipes.
Oh, there's a cigarette butt. What else is in here?
Condoms, diapers, and whatever else wasn't meant to go down the drain.
Just a solid block, almost of chalk consistency. There's just a solid mass of fat, wipes all congealed together.
In East London, crews spent 9 weeks tackling the biggest rock-solid blob they've ever seen. 130 tons of fatberg. So big, it clogged the sewer and damaged the walls. It's the result of 19th century infrastructure meeting 21st century problems. That's how Waste Network manager Alex Saunders sees it.
The Victorians built a really good sewer network for us that we continue to maintain, but the pressures of modern living with our fatty diets, the takeaways, combined with using things like wet wipes, that's what causes the really big problem.
So crews have been sucking out the fatberg and trucking it away. Some of it ends up here, a 4-hour drive from London, the world's first plant converting fatberg into biofuel. We got a tour from Argent Energy's Corporate Affairs Director, Dickon Posnett.
A tanker that comes in with, say, 20 tons in it, and we convert all that into biodiesel. We get the oil out of it, and the oil turned into biodiesel is about 20 tons carbon savings. That's got to make you feel good.
First, the fatberg is filtered to remove the biggest solids. The whole process will leave less than 40% of the original material. What's left over ends up in the landfill, while the fat, oil, and grease is heated, then filtered again and again.
This is one of the final steps in the filtration process. This machine uses fine particles of wood chips to filter out the little pieces of waste that are left from the source material. And what goes on from here is essentially oil that then goes on to be transformed into biofuel.
The process can take a week. By the end of it, what's left of the fatberg looks like this: clear biofuel that's mixed with traditional diesel, pumped back into a truck, and again taken away. Some ends up back in London, powering those double-decker buses, while the battle underground continues. Thomas Dagler, CBC News, London.
Canadian municipalities spend an estimated $250 million a year to bust up fatbergs and clear away other unflushables. So they're trying to change behavior. Halifax made a video on how to bacon responsibly.
If you do have a lot of extra bacon fat on your hands, well, you can use it. For example, Baconaise.
To keep grease out of the sewers. Last month, Vancouver recruited some star power to launch Wipe It, Green Bin It.
And, you know, they just dump it down the drain, and it's like, why?
And London, Ontario, asks people to collect cooking grease in cups supplied by the city. They can be thrown in the garbage or dropped off at depots to be turned into alternative fuel.
All right, still ahead tonight, the first interview with this year's Giller Prize winner. But first, a major milestone celebrated in London. The bells at Westminster Abbey rang out for more than 3 hours to honor the platinum anniversary of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. The pair walked down the aisle there 70 years ago today on November 20th, 1947. Have a look.
Here at Britain's historic shrine where all the kings have been crowned, Her Royal Highness, the Princess Elizabeth Alexandra Mary, and His Royal Highness, Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, are wed in the same ceremony that has united English couples from village to palace for centuries.
When the bishop was asked what he thought about sin, he replied with simple conviction that he was against it. If I am asked today what I think about family life after 25 years of marriage, I can answer with equal simplicity and conviction. I am for it.
I think that the main lesson that we've learned is that tolerance is the one essential ingredient of any happy marriage. It may not be quite so important when things are going well, but it is absolutely vital when things get difficult. And you can take it from me that the Queen has the quality of tolerance and abundance.
Never before has a British monarch survived 60 years of marriage. And this special service at Westminster Abbey reflected the Queen's sense of duty to both her husband and to her job. One romantic moment came in a poem read by Dame Judi Dench.
Love found a voice and spoke two names aloud and joined them in a life where duty spoke in languages their tenderness could share.
One of the very wisest of men once said, "Of the making of books there is no end, nor of the selling of them." Prizes help. The literary prize has two functions. It's an honor, and it's a way of getting good books noticed. There are some very well-known prizes, the contentious, much-hyped Booker in England, the prestigious Pulitzer. These prizes are the Academy Awards of Literature. The Canadian prize has been making quite a stir, too. This is the 7th year of the Giller Prize for Fiction. In that short time, the Giller has established itself as Canada's #1 glamour literary prize, a neat counterpoint to the more steadfast Governor-General's Award. The Giller thrives on glamour. The judges are eminent, the venue high class, and the publicity driven. It is the darling of the Canadian publishing industry and is most un-Canadianly high-spirited. It's fair to say that the night of the Giller party and banquet is a gathering of the cultural stars, a little chest-pounding for the literary set and the culture mavens, fancy dress, self-esteem. The Giller doesn't apologize for glitz and show, it's part of its charm. It doesn't hurt to have some high-grade winners, too.
I'm pleased to announce that Alice Munro is the winner of the 1998 Giller Prize for her short collection, The Love of a Good Woman.
So far, the winners have included the reigning aristocrats of Can Lit. Besides Munro, Margaret Atwood and Mordecai Richler, to name a few eminences. I take it that this great painting on the wall is the person for whom
Absolutely. This was Doris in all her glory.
The Giller story is sad and happy. Doris Giller was a lively, vigorous literary journalist who passed away in 1993. Jack Rabinovich, her husband, decided to keep her name alive in a way that would honor and please her. Hence, the Giller Prize. Stylish, first class, and impossible to ignore.
It has a very simple focus. Select the best author, the best book, period, paragraph 30. It's just a matter of simple merit as judged by 3 human beings who are normally peers in the writing group.
It's good to be friends with Mordecai Richler if you're starting a literary award. Richler has won a powerful number of them himself. He was on the Giller's very first judges panel, gave it credibility from the start, and was the first person Rabinovich consulted about the idea of the Giller.
I warned Jack foolishly that it would take 5 or 6 years before anyone paid any attention. Yeah. And of course it took off immediately, and it was a huge success to Steam. And a lot of it was due to Jack's enormous generosity and to that very stylish banquet, and to the quality of the books that were chosen, I think. I mean, it's almost unique in Canada for a businessman to do this.
Yeah, it is.
Without any government help or leaning on any government.
And the 2017 Scotiabank Giller Prize goes to
Michael Redhill for his novel, Bellevue Square.
It's been a big night for Toronto-based author Michael Redhill. He beat out 4 other writers to win one of Canada's most prestigious fiction awards and the $100,000 that goes with it. Ian Hannah-Mansing was at tonight's Giller Prize ceremony, and he spoke with Redhill shortly after he took to the stage.
So you cracked jokes during your acceptance speech, but you're also very emotional. What's it been like to win?
I'm still feeling like I'm not quite in the same time zone as my body, but it was, I tried to imagine beforehand what it might feel like, and when I heard my name, I really drew a blank. It was stunning.
Any idea what's going to change tonight, and especially tomorrow for you as an author?
I think tomorrow will be busier than than if I hadn't won, but I'm okay with that, and I hope to get back to work pretty soon, but obviously things are going to be a little turbulent for a while.
So there are people in Canada who may be hearing about your book for the first time tonight. Why should they start reading it soon?
Well, they might enjoy reading Bellevue Square fairly soon, because the reality that we all live in is under attack and is constantly shifting, and our sense of selves is constantly shifting. And Bellevue Square is about what our consciousness is made of and what we do with our sense of self.
You had so many people that you thanked, and you thanked them in such a heartfelt way. Is there anybody that in particular you're thinking about tonight?
I'm thinking about Don Coles, who was one of my first mentors, and I meant to shout out to him, but he was one of my earliest teachers, and I know he's not feeling well these days, and I'm grateful for the example he gave me.
Well, congratulations. You could tell in that room a lot of people were very happy that you won.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Transforming a book into a movie can be a challenge. For Canadian actor Jacob Tremblay, taking a lead role in a movie called Wonder meant understanding what it's like to look different. So he turned to patients of Toronto's Sick Kids Hospital before shooting, and he paid them a visit again today to say thank you for putting their differences on display and for inspiring his own performance in the film. Eli Glasner was there to listen.
It's not every day you see a red, or in this case, a blue carpet in a hospital, but Wonder is not an everyday film. The movie centers on Augie, a 10-year-old boy with Treacher-Collins syndrome.
I know I'm not an ordinary 10-year-old kid. I've had 27 surgeries. They've helped me to breathe, to see, to hear without a hearing aid, but none of them have made me look ordinary.
Augie's genetic disease affects the development of bones and soft facial tissue. It took 2 hours of makeup each day to transform Canadian Jacob Tremblay into the character. But before camera started rolling, Tremblay reached out to patients with similar conditions at Sick Kids Hospital. There, they filled a binder with letters about life growing up different.
It helped me feel like Augie. It helped me...
How does Augie feel?
He feels scared and he feels like he's shrinking away.
Vanessa Weens knows that feeling. Although you can't see it now, she began coming to the hospital at 8 for multiple surgeries to build her jaw. Painful, but nothing compared to what she experienced from her schoolmates.
You live with this every day. You're being told you're disgusting. You're being told to go kill yourself, and you start thinking, you know, why I probably should, because this is just the worst.
And while some have criticized the film for casting an actor without a facial difference to play the role, this former patient doesn't mind.
This movie actually now, regardless of all that other stuff, it actually puts facial differences into the public eye. It begins a conversation that previously wasn't there. And to me, that's worth everything.
Finally, the moment arrived.
It's really fun, and enjoy.
A chance to see the impact of those stories on the big screen. For this crowd, Wonder was just that.
When I saw it, I was awestruck. It didn't feel like I was watching a movie. It felt like I was actually watching real life.
You spend so much of your life trying to hide your difference, and here we have like a movie with like Julia Roberts and Owen Wilson and Jacob Tremblay about something that you're trying to hide your whole life, and it's hard to explain.
Perhaps a little easier to explain, thanks to the patients willing to share their stories. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Toronto.
What a treat for those kids. We'll go deeper on the stories of the day earlier in the day. Subscribe to our newsletter, cbcnews.ca/The National. The National Today takes you inside our journalism every afternoon.
A rapidly increasing number of experts and politicians are becoming progressively alarmed about air pollution. In the United States, it's estimated that 370,000 tons of pollution are dumped into the air every day. It's figured that the economic cost to the country of air pollution runs upward of $12 billion in property damage and in widespread illnesses and deaths to humans and to animals. Most of the damage is caused by car pollution coming from the exhaust, and a bill has just been introduced in the Congress for a federal study of electric cars. Congressman Richard Ottinger, a New York Democrat, dramatizes his proposal by driving an electric car to the Congress. He says wide use of electric cars would dramatically reduce air pollution. The car uses no gas or oil, needs almost no maintenance, and creates no pollution or noise. It runs on 4 silver zinc batteries linked together by a series of electric relays for driving power and a smaller battery for lights and horn. The congressman says you simply plug the car into an outlet wherever you park to recharge your batteries. This demonstration car sells for about $2,000 and uses only a little more current than an electric iron. Speed is a problem, though, for the car can only get up to 40 or 50 miles an hour. One prominent meteorologist, Morris Nyberger of the University of California, predicts that if nothing is done about pollution, in the next 100 years from now, air pollution will be so bad that humans may not be able to survive. And even the comedians are worrying about it, as for instance Tom Lehrer, who says the city streets today are quite a thrill. If the hoods don't get you, the monoxide will. Knowlton Nash, CBC News, Washington.
Automobiles come in all shapes and sizes, and about the only thing they have in common is that most of them are powered by gasoline. But the days of gasoline guzzlers are numbered, and the future, some experts say, lies in powering cars with electricity. Over the weekend, the designers of this car met with city and federal officials about building the models here in Windsor. The company says it'll need help in financing the venture, but feels the market is ready for a luxury car powered by fast-charge lead cobalt batteries. Windsor is only one of the production sites being considered, but Development Commissioner Jim Moore feels we do have an edge.
One of the questions put to them, in fact, was, are you another Brickland? And they recognize that in order to have credibility with the car-buying public, with the dealers, even with governments, let's say, if you're going to do something like build a totally new car.
On the National tonight, time is running out as crews search for a missing submarine off the coast of Argentina. It's now been nearly 6 days since it disappeared, with 44 people on board. Search crews from a handful of countries are out scouring the ocean, but so far no luck. Argentina's Navy did detect some sound along the ocean floor, but just a couple of hours ago they said it's not the submarine they're looking for.
The party has instructed the chief whip to proceed with impeachment processes against Comrade Araji Mugabe.
Also tonight, we're just hours away from a move by Zimbabwe's ruling ZANU-PF party to impeach Robert Mugabe. They'd given him an ultimatum, resign or be forced out, and the deadline for him to resign has gone by. It is already tomorrow in Zimbabwe, so Parliament has a full day ahead of it as it begins the process to officially remove Mugabe from power.
Okay, we're about to show you the world's most perfect example of Murphy's Law. Dozens of camera operators, producers, they set up around the Georgia Dome this morning. They wanted to capture the exact moment the 25-year-old stadium came down in a planned explosion. So the Weather Channel's camera went there and faced an unexpected challenge. And that is our moment of the day.
3, 2, 1. Get out of the way, boss! Are you... What the... Here we go.
I've watched that 4 times and it gives me a serious case of the giggles. It's so bad.
I mean, the thing I don't get, though, is why would they set up on street level with a street in front of them, between them and the Georgia? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it.
Can I just say, it is really bad karma to laugh at this poor guy, because you know it could happen to us like that.
I'm okay with it. That's the National for November 20th. I'm going to get it together. Good night.
Good night.